All right, perfect.
So shalom, hi everyone. Thank you for joining, and we're very happy to host today Anna Zohar Zak, who represents our office in Poland, and she will share with us the situation in Poland right now, tourism situation, and thoughts about the future. So thank you so much, Anna, and you can start.
Okay. Hello, how are you? It's a pleasure to see all of you here. I can see some familiar names. For those who didn't have a chance to meet me before, I will just introduce myself. I work for the Israel Ministry of Tourism for already since 2009. I started in our head office in Jerusalem, and since 2011, when IGTO Poland has been established, I work here, and I'm responsible for all the tourism-related activities Israel Ministry of Tourism does in Poland. Today we'll speak about Poland in regard of current situation, but before that, I just want to give you the quick overview of the country in general. So I'm not sure if all of the people who are actually participating in the meeting the Polish market. So again, review. Poland, actually, country located in the center, covering an area of 300,000 square kilometers with approximately 38.5 million inhabitants, which is the 5th largest population in the European Union. The most populous city is Warsaw, the capital, with almost 2 million inhabitants. Language-wise, Poland is a very homogeneous nation with nearly 97 respondents declaring Polish as their mother tongue. English is widely spoken. More than half of the Polish citizens declare knowledge of English as the first foreign language. Religion, over 90% of Polish citizens adhere to the Roman Catholic Church, making Poland one of the most religious countries in Europe. And even though the church attendance decreased in recent years, over 50% of Polish citizens outline that religion is of high or very high importance in their life. Tourism. Poland is a part of a global tourism market, and before the pandemic it constantly increased its number of visitors. The most popular visited places by tourists are Warsaw, Krakow, Gdańsk, and the Tri-City area at the Baltic seaside, and the historic site of Auschwitz, German Nazi concentration camp in Oświęcim. In 2019, Poland was visited by almost 20 million tourists, which is 8% more than in 2018. The outbound tourism was also growing. Poland reported a record-breaking summer season in 2019, with trip sales increased by over 10% comparing to the previous years. In 2019, Poles participated 13.5 million trips abroad, with at least one overnight stayed outside of the country. On the contrary to 2020, when most of the Poles chose domestic holidays, and even though the borders of European Union were open, majority decided to stay and spend vacation domestically. Regarding the Polish annual leave, it's 20 days per year during the first year of employment, and 26 thereafter. Polish tourism to Israel. Just a quick history. It all started in the early days with the disappearance of the Iron Curtain and the restrictions for the combination of the first for travel and meeting with new Catholic country. Israel has been marked as a potential global tourism map of the Poles, of course, at the beginning, especially for pilgrimages. In April 2000, the need of visa to enter Israel was abolished, and it landmarked the decision to promote the movement. At the beginning, only El Al and Lot operated no more than 2 to 5 rather expensive flights per week from Warsaw only. Over the years, situation has been changed. With big work and investment from Israel Ministry of Tourism, we reached over 50 weekly flights from most of Polish airports as for the end of 2019. Currently, most of them are suspended. We have only one Ryanair flight from Tel Aviv to Krakow operating, Wizz Air announced restoring of the flights from 17th of May. It's already restored the flight, but then suspend again. I've been in contact with them. They said that it's mostly connected to the fact that Poland is on lockdown. And since the flights are available only for the Israeli citizens, it's not interesting them to book at the moment. So probably when the situation in Poland will change, also a lot of flights will be restored. About El Al didn't put us yet on the map of the destinations for restoring the flights. We don't know when it's going to happen. Entries to Israel. I just mark here only the numbers from 2011, since then it came under my responsibility when the IGTO was open. So when I started to work here, the numbers of Poles visiting Israel was about 95,000, which is not a small number at all. But if we take a closer look, we see the majority were pilgrims who stayed only in the hotels outside of Israel. In this case, it was Bethlehem. A second big group were one-day-only visitors from Egypt resorts. During those 9 active years, both numbers and type of traveler has changed. Israel is not only the Holy Land anymore, and the visitors prefers to stay here much longer and travel throughout the country. What's worth to emphasize is that not only we end up 2019 with an amazing number of 177,000 Polish people visiting Israel, we also had an amazing opening of 2020 with 17,000 tourists from Poland in January, which placed us on the third position from all the world nations. I'm giving you this number only to show you the potential of traffic from Poland to Israel. But then from March, we all know what happened, and we are still on lockdown in traffic from Poland to Israel, and we are looking forward to work on it hard once the situation will change. So this is about the history. Now what's happening at the moment. Poland is on lockdown with heavy third wave of coronavirus pandemic. All the shopping malls are closed. All the services are closed. Kids don't go to school. Yesterday we had another day with over 600 COVID victims. So numbers of cases are slightly decreasing, but number of casualties, unfortunately, not. It's not forbidden to travel, but there is a general governmental advice not to. How it influenced I'm sorry, not what I wanted to do. The vaccine process in Poland is slow. Up until now, only 9 million people received the first dose, the 2.3 million second dose. The recent information is that the process of the vaccination will speed up. Government just announced the opening of registration for the younger generation. But to register, doesn't immediately mean to be vaccinated. We are very dependent from the European Union deliveries, which are not regular. So there is a general plan to vaccinate full population until end of August. But again, it all depends from available doses. There is I wouldn't say a trend, but currently less people decide to be vaccinated at all. And therefore the opening of available doses for younger generation is bigger. About the local industry. The local tourism industry didn't really get much of governmental help. There was a help with the social security payments, and each employee received 2,000 Polish zlotys per addition for the salary of the employee, but that would be it. In the last summer season, the tour operators to whom I spoke had 90% less reservations. For this summer's booking didn't really start yet. People prefer to wait until last minute, only due to unexpected lockdowns. But let's say for a long weekend in May, because of the lockdown of Polish hotels, the trips abroad number increased. So people already booking flights to Egypt, Turkey, and again, they are choosing the destinations with less restrictions.
To enter those kind of places, the restriction outside and then coming.
Okay. What is that? Egypt and Turkey. This is the only the PCR test only. On the way back, they also need the Polish. They need to get if they don't want to quarantine, they need to make a PCR test on arrival. There is a huge interest in the destinations with, let's say, almost no restrictions at all. Like, for instance, from Poland, you can take the flight to Zanzibar or to Mexico or to Dominican Republic for €1,000 with the full week package without being tested at all. On the way there, on the way back, again, they need the PCR test released from the quarantine. The competition with Israel will be very and no, this is not what I wanted to. Oh, two computers here. All those obstacles, the first natural group to come back to restore the traffic from Poland would be pilgrims. There are two reasons for that. Those people are mostly like older generation, so at least so let's say that 100% of the ones who wanted to be vaccinated already are, plus they tend to follow priest instructions where to go. But we cannot take them for granted. Like at the moment, they have many pilgrimage destinations throughout Europe and the world. And there is a big question about possibility to enter all of the sites during the pilgrimage to Israel. The most important is visiting Bethlehem. For them, the visiting Holy Land, it's usually once per lifetime experience. So if until they will get an information that it's possible to actually enter all the crucial interested sites for pilgrims, they will wait until this experience is complete. So this is, I think, very, very important questions which Israel and the industry has to answer to local tour operators. I think what's also important to emphasize that many Polish are being vaccinated. This is mostly for FITs, but not only that. AstraZeneca vaccination is very popular in Poland, and until it's going to be recognized by Israel, it can still decrease number of potential visitors. Since only the American approved vaccinations are recognized at the moment. So
well, I must say that now for the new procedure starting the end of May, we're not sure yet what kind of vaccination will be recognized. So we're not sure about this point. Maybe if you finished with the presentation, you can stop sharing it so we can see more clearly. Thanks.
Sure. So again, industry, I spoke to the number of tour operators this week, and apart from like obvious expected help, which will be the marketing help, marketing agreements, they are looking forward to get like really solid information. And this is something which the Israel industry and Israel Ministry of Tourism obviously has to work the hardest, that they can start recruiting the groups, they can start recruiting the travelers once they will know for sure the rules. who can enter, when can enter, what is the preference of the groups, and so on and so forth. Basically, they are so eager to start working with Israel again that they don't. Almost none of them gave me any other requirements. Let's say they just want information and, if possible, some marketing help. But mostly, it's the information and something which they can really rely on, which they can address, and of course the information which won't change with times. So that's the again. I told you about the aviation. I told you about the industry. If you have any questions which I can answer, please.
We would be delighted to hear questions from the audience. And until then, if you can say just 1 or 2 words about the activity of the office, what you're doing these days, and what was done before in order to increase sales and connections with the local market.
Well, Israel Ministry of Tourism, I mean, Israel Government Tourist Office, as I mentioned before, when the office was established, the biggest traffic to Israel from Poland were pilgrimages. Israel was only the holy land for Poles, and Israel is and will always be the holy land. But what was our the main goal is to not to change the perspective, but to make it wider. So for the last years, we worked really hard to show that Israel is not only the holy land, that it's a great place for vacation, for the summer, for FITs, for city breaks, and it worked. Now almost it's so easy to get to Israel for a city break. We work very hard on various road shows and marketing agreements with local tour operators that the offer will be actually for everyone. That it's a regular vacation destination and not and so much more than only the Holy Land. We emphasize the great weather. Almost each year we are hosting in Israel live weather forecast media of one of the news most popular news stations, and around the end of October, beginning of November, they are broadcasting Sunny Tel Aviv, Sunny Jerusalem. As for everyone who were in Poland at that time knows that it's very crucial to see and to show that somewhere else the sun is shining. It's really crucial. So we basically all the activities, I mean, most of the activities throughout all those years were to brand Israel as much more than only the Holy Land, and it worked. It worked very well. Wait a second, I think there is a question in the chat. Campaigns to promote Israel. Of course, the Ministry of Tourism is always planning to assist Polish agents in their marketing campaigns. We are all dependent from the budget. The moment the budget, the Israel budget will be approved, I'm sure that the ministry will share it with all the offices abroad, and we will be able to share it with the Polish agents. As you know, it's a problematic situation at the moment, and for what we can do now, it's to try and assist local agents with no significant budget.
Any questions, remarks, things you wanted to add, maybe, please feel free. So I guess everything was very clear.
If you, yeah, I will just I'm sure it's very easy to locate it. But if someone doesn't have it, I'm writing here on the chat my email. You can write me if you have any questions relating to Poland. Don't hesitate to email me, and I will do my best to help and answer.
That's great. Great idea to add your email.
Mary, do you want to ask something? Okay.
So thank you so
thank
much,
you very much,
everyone, for your participation. Thank you, Anna, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Hope to see you all very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.